tenders. So I'm just going to jump in because we do only have about 15 minutes for the recording. So the first item I have put together is the tenders org chart. So I've got at the top there, we've split it between Karen, Keely and Emma. So I've got to review the tender portals. I've got Emma. She'll then issue to relevant stakeholders for a go, no go to be confirmed. Then she will create, once confirmed, a project and assign it to either the PM or design admin to assist in documentation. So that comes down to the design being you, Karen, and PM being Keely, which then separates to what you're to do in that tender space, which is your response forms, your insurances, policies, any CVs, and then return back to the stakeholders for pricing and methodology to be completed. Then once that's all ready to go, Emma gets the green tick. The submission portal is Emma's space again, where she'll jump in and submit all the approved tender material to go through. Following up vendors for approval as well. So filling in that spreadsheet and making sure that if there is a tender that hasn't come back to us, just to figure out whether we've won or lost that tender. And then we can follow the end process of just closing out those projects in Synergy, and we can utilize the WIP that has been used, so we can look at how much time we spent on tenders as well as a back end. So that's basically just the tender org chart, very quick and simple. Have I missed anything in those sort of spaces that you would like added?
Maybe the step of like where it says create project, I don't necessarily create that. It goes from like the people who I've sent the invitation to, then Caroline would say, okay, we're going to do this. Then she would create the project rather than me. I only see it like after they've decided to go ahead with it.
So create the project is in terms of like P Drive Synergy.
Yeah, but they they decide that first. I don't then I would create it after they've decided yes or no they're going ahead.
Yeah, so I can just add in a yes, no.
Yes.
Tab. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cool. All right, so I'll move on to the written, just a bit more detail. So by the end of the training session, we'll be working out the knowledge of the Aspects tendering process and identify the performance standards that apply to our individual roles in this step. So understanding the tender process. So it's a formal invitation to suppliers to bid for a contract to provide goods or services. I thought I'd put in here, because I know being new, we have a tender stage in our fee proposal, and that they obviously aren't the same thing. So I've just popped in there the difference to our internal tender stage in our projects, where we're going to tender and we review for potential builders is ours. So I did have some feedback from that from previous staff members that couldn't separate the two and didn't have that understanding. So I thought I'd just pop that in there. Stages of tendering. So we've got the initial review, so identifying the potential tenders in specific locations. So regional mostly is what we like to. We try to stay away from Brisbane because we're small fish in that pond. So we've tried to stay away from Brisbane, unless of course we've been invited by a case by case. We know that person, it's a little bit different. It's probably more of an email submission than it is a portal submission, if that's the case. So reviewing, particular words when you do your searches for design and project management, and then having your senior design and senior project management teams conduct that go, no go, and then determine whether we're actually going to tender for this. So bid document assistance, so preparing tender documents, submission forms, insurances, policies, the required staff for the CVs, compliance with any tender requirements, pricing and methodology are to be conducted by, again, our senior design and project management teams. Again, that's come up in the past where previous staff members don't feel comfortable creating that pricing schedule, which I just want to alliterate, that's not for the admin team to do. We would have no idea how long it would take to get something done. We've got no idea what the capacity is going to be to fit in this project if we win it. So that stuff will always have to go back to them. Addendums, so I've got that in there to be with you as well, Emma, just to make sure you're thoroughly reviewing any current tenders that have addendums on their platform, and that when they're released, given to the team members to work on the tenders. Typically, these are other bidders asking questions. I think in the past, Karen, you've gone back to the tender submissions to ask relevant questions to what they're working on as well. So it goes both ways. We can ask questions as well.
Yeah, they in that case they came back to us with asking for more information, and because I was involved in completing it, I undertook that. But if someone else was, we just passed that on.
Absolutely, yeah. So tender submissions, so submit a bid through the specific deadline, date, time, correct platform. Again, email address if that's where it's come from. Evaluation phase, so awaiting the feedback and possible requests for any additional information or clarification. It can take time to determine that outcome as well. And they also can put these tenders on hold and not actually release them at all. But it'd be good to keep an eye out on those. If successful, we would negotiate and finalise the contract. If not, we would actually ask for feedback to improve future bids. So we have had that before on a project, Buderim Mountain. We were quoted double the price than all the other architects. Caroline gave them a call. We actually really wanted to win this job because we were creating an office space in Buderim. So for us to win this, got our name and our presence out there. So it actually came back internally with that feedback. Caroline negotiated the price. We actually half cut our price. And we did end up winning that tender, and we did get our name at the Buderim Mountain State School. We put that cost comparison loss towards marketing because it was a strategic marketing plan to have our name there. Caroline actually ran that project and we were profitable. So it was an amazing outcome, even just asking for feedback to actually be profitable, get our name out there. It was very, very well done. Roles and responsibilities. So in here I've put in, Emma, managing the tender documentation and ensure all necessary paperwork is completed, coordinate communication between internal stakeholders and tender authority. Then I've got you there, Karen, for ensuring design specifications in our bid are clear and meet the tender requirements, and review design related aspects of the tender document. So just assisting with your senior members on those tenders. Same thing for Keely, so reviewing the PM related tenders. Emma, I've got you for overseeing the overall tender process, ensuring the timelines are met and performance standards are adhered to, calendar reminders, check in with staff to make sure there's nothing they need, to make sure we have no reason to not submit this tender. Performance management was monitoring feedback, so regular weekly catch-ups with the tender team, which you guys do as part of your BDM tender group. So that's, I don't know how many staff are in that, but you guys do that weekly.
Yeah, so we've moved it now to fortnightly.
Yeah, okay, yep. And I've popped on here continuous improvements with the SIFs. I just want to encourage everyone, they should be using that system. It's great to have conversations and it's great to have action plans, but in terms of our audits, they review our SIFs and they see what we're doing for our continuous improvement. So it's good to have that written somewhere, even if we are already doing it in the back end, but it's also, we can report on it, and Mark is now reporting on it in the board meetings as to what percentage SIFs are raised, but also them being completed and actioned as well. So it's good for you guys to be jumping into this space. I've been out of it for a while as well, just to get a different perspective and what works and what doesn't work. Don't be afraid to make a change because nothing has to be embedded. That's the point. And all tenders are different, so a lot of it can't be generic, but if you can find a process that can be streamlined, all for it. Absolutely all for it. And I'm sure the senior members would agree. Did you guys have any additional queries about the process?
Emma, how did you get on with that council where we were on their supplier panel? Is
that PPC or
Western Downs? And what that meant?
That one I haven't heard anything. I'm not 100% sure from that one.
Yeah, it might be worth.
I haven't heard any updates.
Because remember, we got on their supplier panel and it was just working out, did you need to check it or do they contact us?
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
I'll look further into it. I'll add that to my to-do list.
Yeah. I'd say that it would be the case that they will contact us, but if we have to add it into that checking portal as a regular check, just to keep, because that's a good council to work with, they're close.
Yeah, for
they're
sure.
doing a lot of projects.
Absolutely.
I'll add that in. That was Western Downs, wasn't it?
Yep.
Is it Western Downs?
Regional Council.
WDRC.
Yep.
Yep. Did you want to clarify any of your specific roles, or that's basically the gist of what's expected in that space?
Can you scroll up to the top of those where mine was at the top? I suppose mostly I just haven't seen the process from start to finish yet. I haven't, and I'd say that is coming because I've sent through a couple of tenders that I've seen that are now jobs that I've created. So I'd say that we'll start to see that follow through, but I haven't seen any from start to finish yet. So I'm not 100% sure how much I'll be involved in the ones that we have, but I would like to be more involved so I am across that sooner.
Yeah. And how are you finding, Karen, working in the design team with your tenders? Because the main staff are Sunny Coast staff.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the biggest thing for me is working out how to be effective and not take up time asking the questions. So I think everyone that will come in time. And I spoke to Caroline this morning. We're having check-ins on Tuesday and Thursday now, and just to sort of if Caroline and Adrian can identify what I can do to be most useful and focus on that, so that will help. And that will come in time. The more we do and the more we understand each other's skill set and
sure.
Yeah, but probably I'm inclined to have some exposure to local government. So that's one that I would really like to definitely, as you've written there, get involved in checking that.
Yeah, I think your background, Karen, should be more utilised in this space. I think obviously the more you're in it and you see, I guess, from our end and how it's done, our end, but bringing your expertise to be able to change the way we do things is actually going to be beneficial. You've got that overall view of knowledge that a lot of us don't have in this space, because most of our tenders, again, are done by Sunny Coast staff members. I think Tegan and Cara have dabbled in it in the last 12 months, but they don't have that full guidance of the tenders either. So having your knowledge to assist the Toowoomba team is going to be helpful, and then learning, I guess, how it's done from Caroline and Adrian in that tender space now. I think Adrian started in June last year and he's pretty much spent most of his time in the tender space.
Yeah, it's a big area just to bring that work in. Yeah, no, I definitely have an interest in local government and exposure to design requirements, and engagement probably is a big one, and I have identified some areas with Wade and Mark, so to pass that on. I did also talk to Caroline this morning. If there is, the early project set up with local government, if I can sit in on that, I can probably help with designing a document that can be used for grant applications. And that's what council really, it just gives a strategic edge, because eventually they need funding.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Good.
Well, that pretty much wraps it up. Unless you guys have any additional questions or comments, that's it.
All good.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for
Thank
joining.
You very much.
Thank you.
No
worries.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.